Hello everyone, this is Jessica with Black Travelers Network, where we provide trips that focus on the Black experience in different parts of the world, and we cover news stories that happen in different parts of the African diaspora. Part of why this channel is so important is because we live in a global society, and it's important to remember that what happens to people in the African diaspora in one place must be taken seriously. This story comes to us from the BBC News, and to be perfectly honest, it shows that there's a trend that's happening in different parts of the world regarding the conditions of people of African descent. Many of you may remember the story that came out of the Dominican Republic probably about a couple of years ago, and how the Dominican Republic government was pushing for Dominican-born Haitians to prove they belonged in the DR or be forced to return to Haiti despite many having never lived in Haiti. Well, this story is really no different. The story is called Windrush Generation. Who are they and why are they facing problems? Those arriving in the United Kingdom between 1948 and 1971 from Caribbean countries have been labeled Windrush Generation. This is a reference to the ship MV Empire Windrush, which arrived in the UK on June 22nd, 1948, bringing workers from Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and other islands as a response to post-war labor shortages in the United Kingdom. The ship carried 492 passengers, many of them children. It is unclear how many people belong to the Windrush Generation, since many of those who arrived as children traveled on their parents' passport and never applied for travel documents, but they are thought to be in their thousands. There are now 500,000 people residing in the UK who were born in a Commonwealth country and arrived before 1971, including Windrush arrivals, according to estimates by Oxford University's Migration Observatory. The influx ended with the 1971 Immigration Act, when Commonwealth citizens already living in the United Kingdom were given indefinite leave to remain. After this, a British passport holder born overseas could only settle in the United Kingdom if they firstly had a work permit and secondly could prove that a parent or grandparent had been born in the UK. Many of the arrivals became manual workers, cleaners, drivers, and nurses, and some broke new ground in representing Black Britons in society. The first Black mayor of Southwark in London was from the Windrush Generation. The question is, are they in the United Kingdom legally? The Home Office did not keep a record of those granted leave to remain or issue any paperwork confirming it, meaning it is difficult for Windrush arrivals to prove they are in the United Kingdom legally. And in 2010, landing cards belonging to Windrush migrants were destroyed by the Home Office. Because they came from British colonies that had not achieved independence, they believed they were British citizens. Why are they facing problems? Those who lack documents are now being told they need evidence to continue working, get treatment from the NHS, or even to remain in the UK. Changes to immigration law in 2012, which required people to have documentation to work, rent a property, or access benefits, including health care, have left people fearful about their status. There are a number of cases where people have reported being affected by this. Stories like a woman who had her driver's license withdrawn and lost her job when she was told she did not have indefinite leave to remain. And another woman reported receiving a letter in the mail saying she was in the country illegally. The government has essentially done nothing. In her apology, Mrs. May insisted the government was not clamping down on Commonwealth citizens, particularly those from the Caribbean. The government is creating a task force to help applicants demonstrate they are entitled to work in the UK. It aims to resolve cases within 2 weeks of evidence being provided. More than 160,000 people have signed a petition calling on the government to grant amnesty to anyone who arrived in the United Kingdom as a minor between 1948 and 1971. However, some people objected to the word amnesty, saying it implies Windrush Generation were not legally entitled to live in the UK in the first place. I want to emphasize that after World War II, it was the British government that actually encouraged mass migration from those in the West Indies into the UK. The relationship was a relationship that was supposed to be mutually beneficial. West Indians could come to the United Kingdom and create a better life for themselves and their families in return for filling the labor shortage. It's also worth pointing out that the British Nationality Act of 1948 gave citizenship of the United Kingdom and colonies to all people living in the UK and its colonies, and the right of entry and settlement into the UK. So this attack on the children of that generation to live in the United Kingdom and maintain their lives is unjust. It's also likely a response to the mass migration that's happening of Africans into different parts of the United Kingdom, largely because of Western interference in African countries. A lot of Africans who are leaving Africa have been displaced and they're heading to Europe for a better life. There are estimates that report 1 million Africans are expected to migrate into different parts of Europe, and a lot of this has to do with what's happened in their country that has caused them to have to flee to Europe. This is an unfortunate situation that has clearly been orchestrated by the British government. Drop your thoughts and comments below, and please don't forget to subscribe.